Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. Not every day we could report that journalism we did has led to criminal convictions, but that's exactly what we're about to tell you. Obviously, on January 6th, Jon Farina, who is a terrific, really brave video journalist, has covered many protests around the country, putting his body on the line at many of them. Jon was down there at the Capitol for us freelancing, and he was the first one really to go live when chaos broke out at the Capitol. And he was in that corridor and got the really amazing footage that went viral around the globe of the officer whose head was rammed into the door by members of Trump's MAGA mob. That footage that Jon got, and he could tell you he had nearly broken ribs to shoot for it because he was crushed by all those Trump supporters. That footage has now led to criminal convictions for several people. Before we get to the convictions, just to refresh your memory, I want to show this incredible footage. Again, all the credit to Jon Farina, who will put his links to Instagram and Twitter in the description of this video. Credit to Jon, who got this incredible footage. Let's take a look.
Join us! Join us! Let's go home, dude! Come on, man!
Okay, so man who pinned DC police officer in door frame during January 6th riot, convicted of 7 felonies. A man who was seen crushing a Metropolitan Police Department officer in a door frame during the January 6th Capitol riot has been convicted of 9 offenses, 7 of them felonies. The Justice Department said Tuesday. Patrick McCaughey, 25, of Ridgefield, Connecticut, and 2 others were convicted on multiple charges in a bench trial by U.S. District Judge Trevor McFadden, an appointee of former President Trump. Tristan Chandler Stevens, 26, of Pensacola, Florida, and David Mahaffey, 63, of Kettering, Ohio, were found guilty of 5 felony charges and 2 felony charges, respectively. On January 6, 2021, quote, the 3 defendants attempted to break into the building by directing other rioters participating in heave-hos against the police line, using riot shields stolen from the Capitol Police and assaulting 3 specific officers, the Justice Department said. Mahaffey hung from an archway and shouted direction from above, and McCaughey and Stevens were key players in the melee below. McCaughey grabbed a riot shield and used it as a weapon. Even after officers finally cleared the tunnel area, the 3 defendants illegally remained on the Capitol grounds. All 3 men were convicted of assault charges. However, McFadden only agreed to add a dangerous weapon enhancement, which could increase the eventual prison sentence to McCaughey's convictions. According to CBS affiliate WUSA TV, McFadden ruled that the riot shields the 3 men stole were not inherently dangerous weapons, but that it became one the way McCaughey used it. McCaughey was captured on video. Should be a credit to Status Coup and Jon Farina, but I digress. McCaughey was captured on video using a riot shield to pin MPD officer Daniel Hodges in a doorway during the riot. Hodges could be seen screaming out in pain as he was being crushed in the doorway as rioters attempted to enter the Capitol building. In an interview with CBS News, Hodges said that in videos, you could see McCaughey grabbing his gas mask, beating his head against the door, and ripping it away. And there's the image from DC Police, which obviously comes from Jon Farina's terrific shooting. And by the way, I mean, I'm not a video journalist, but it is really hard to keep the camera still, speaking for Jon, and get that shot when you are literally being sandwiched in by a mob. So again, he just did amazing work, Jon Farina. I definitely considered that might be it. Hodges said, I might not be able to make it out of there. Hodges, along with several other law enforcement officers, also testified before the House Select Committee investigating January 6th. He repeatedly called the rioters terrorists throughout his opening statement. He said that as his head was being bashed by a rioter, he feared that, quote, at best, he might collapse and become a liability to his colleagues. At worst, he added, be dragged down into the crowd and lynched. He said, quote, I did the only thing I could do and scream for help. The 7 felonies McCaughey was convicted of are 3 counts of aiding or abetting or assaulting, resisting or impeding law enforcement officers, including one involving a dangerous weapon, 1 count of obstruction of an official proceeding, 1 count of interfering with a law enforcement officer during a civil disorder, 1 count of disorderly and disruptive conduct in a restricted building or grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon, and 1 count of engaging in physical violence in a restricted building or grounds with a deadly or dangerous weapon. He faces decades in prison. First of all, to be clear, this was not me. This was Jon Farina. So don't give me credit. He was down there freelancing for us. But in part, this is you. This is you, the Status Coup viewer. I don't mean that to be cheesy, but the only reason we're able to pay people like Jon Farina, who was out there at the Capitol, or Tina Desiree Berg, who has done covered protests for us. She's been attacked by police. Able to pay a lot of the freelancers, journalists we've been able to pay is through you, being Status Coup members. So you are what's funding our ability to pay video journalists, on-camera journalists, et cetera. And, I think that obviously January 6th has really become a partisan thing. It's become a weird thing where some leftists kind of minimize it and make it seem like it was just some protest that got out of hand. No, let's be clear. This was an attempt to keep the loser of a presidential election in power and overturn the election results. Regardless of how one feels about Joe Biden, I mean, it's not a secret how I feel. He won the election. Trump lost the election. And this was unprecedented. It has not happened in American history that literally a sitting president would incite his cult to storm the Capitol. And by all reports, he wanted to join them, but was stopped to stop the certification of an election. I don't want to speak for Jon Farina, but, it's not like he just covered it that day and then it was over. I mean, there's long lasting, not just for him, but for others that were there. It takes a psychological toll, what he dealt with there on January 6th. It takes a physical toll. Like I said, I know that he had rib damage and was, injured covering that for hours because he was live for us for about an hour and a half. I think we had 30,000 live viewers while he was live for us. And then he recorded a lot of the footage. By the way, YouTube took down our live footage that Jon shot, claiming we were, quote, advancing false claims of election fraud. Literally, YouTube took down the actual news cameras that was live covering this, not advancing it. But I digress. Kudos to Jon. I can't say it enough. And, I am very proud that footage that was from Status Coup and Jon has led to accountability. I mean, these people should be in prison. Trump and right-wingers who, cry about, this is a political witch hunt against these victims. They stormed the Capitol trying to stop an election from being certified. The Crimea River, really. I mean, by the way, if any of those, if this were 20 Black people, 20 Indigenous people, 20 Hispanic people, trust me when I tell you, they would have experienced a lot more than prison time. Likely would have been shot dead. So again, the individual who was responsible, or there was many individuals, but the individual who was most responsible for crushing that officer into the door has been convicted on 7 counts. And you could thank Jon Farina and Status Coup for getting that footage. If you're not yet a Status Coup member, please sign up. Please sign up, statuscoup.com/join. You could become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month and support this on-the-ground historic journalism. because we were there, not CNN. We were there first, and we have way less resources than CNN. Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.